I have a lot of faith in medical science and a shockingly small amount of faith in the medical establishment and doctors. In fact, a book I read recently put it really well. I heard the phrase, a miasma of mistrust. I have a miasma of mistrust for the medical establishment. Why? Well, medical science has brought us things like antibiotics and testing for bacterial infections. So thanks to medical science, we can take a vaginal swab, we can do a sinus swab, we can do a urine swab culture, and we can determine the bacteria that are present. We can look in someone's stomach, find out if they have H. pylori for ulcers, and we can prescribe the proper antibiotic that works, that should work on those bacteria, the bacteria that we find if there's pathogenic bacteria that are not supposed to be there or that are too much of them. Okay, but the medical establishment does this. Raise your hand if you've just gone into the doctor and said, I think I have a sinus infection, and they've looked at you and said, okay, here's some antibiotics. Or you think you had a UTI and you just do the dipstick and they're like, okay, here's some antibiotics. Or you think you have a yeast infection and they just take a look with their eyes at your vagina and vulva. Maybe they see some white discharge, which could be completely normal or could be something completely different. And then they say, okay, here's an antifungal. So they don't want to take the time or money, or they can't due to insurance, or they're being pressured not to take the time and spend the money to actually find out what bacteria you are dealing with or what fungus you're dealing with. That's the medical establishment. Or in the case of like hormones, it's so many times I see, and what happened to me personally is you have symptoms and you're just told verbally without any blood work or testing at all, it sounds like it could be your hormones and you should take the birth control pill because that fixes hormones. No, if you need to find out what the actual problem with the hormones is. Is it very low hormones across the board, low progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, other things? Or is it super high estrogen and low testosterone? Is it super high testosterone and low estrogen? And that should affect the medication that you provide, the treatment that you provide. But that is not whatever happened to me in 20 years. And from what I can see, being really active in Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, and TikTok, in chronic pain, female pelvic pain, female pain conditions, is that it continues to be the case. The medical establishment and doctors are treating people on symptoms with things that we actually have tests to narrow down and be more accurate with. Medical science and research has given us these beautiful tools, but doctors aren't using them. And women are being given antibiotics that don't treat that infection, and then they're not being tested again to see if the infection's actually gone. They're just being told, well, you had antibiotics, so it should be gone. I mean, you have to wait months. I had to wait almost a year to get a vaginal swab to find out what kind of yeast I was dealing with, and it turned out that I'd been given antifungals that were ineffective for that yeast for a year. So this is why I'm so fired up. Also, as a teenager, I was told, because I had symptoms of hormones, whatever that means, I was put on the birth control pill to fix that. When my symptoms were caused by low hormones, both estrogen and testosterone, I probably had slightly more testosterone, which is why I had more androgenic symptoms, but I didn't have high levels of testosterone, and yet I was put on the birth control pill, low-dose pill, which suppressed my hormones, and I was on that for the next 15 years, and whenever I complained of additional symptoms of insufficient hormones, I was told, well, the only treatment is the one you're already on. And that doesn't even make sense.